We're gonna head out to the trail and... Piece of shit. See, that would be the normal reaction. Here's a better way to do it, right? Oh, that's really disappointing. I was really looking forward to just getting out there and having some good bonding time. Now we can get ready to go bicycle riding. Sore finger, triggered emotions. But guess what? I just found that massive thorn cactus needle, actually. Fixed the tire, all in the time that he was still getting ready. So, not a problem. Well done. Welcome back to a fabulous day in, you ready? Do it with me, SCOTOMAVILLE, right? The airplane pilots are out. All the daily activity has moved. And we're going to start talking about something that's very challenging. It's a tool, but it's really, really hard to master. It's called an emotional vocabulary. And we're going to give you a tool called an emotional word list. You can just download it, print it, stick it on your refrigerator. I had it on my refrigerator for at least 2.5, 3 years. And every week I tried to acquire a most challenging, deeply felt, emotional word. Sounds really touchy-feely. It is. It's really stuff to mess with your head. That still is tough. It's still hard. They're not right on the surface yet. I have to really dig for them. I had to put it on the refrigerator for at least
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. We had the word list on the refrigerator, which was good because then we would discipline ourselves in the middle of a conversation, discussion, heated, to go to the refrigerator.
Off of it. What are you doing on my foot? Use your words, Daniel.
The reason it's so important, and I'll quote Tony Robbins on this one, distinction is power. See, for you to become an emotional vocabulary sommelier, right? You know, those incredibly discerning wine connoisseurs, those masterful judges of the subtleties of the vintage industry. In order for us to communicate what's going on inside of us when we're half blind to it, we hardly even know what is going on. In order for us to communicate that, we need to acquire and master first the vocabulary, but in learning the words, we're actually going to have to map out. Remember the myelinated sheaths and all the pathways that we're going to create? We're going to map that out internally and be able to associate not just current feelings and current events that are happening in our triggers and our emotions and our hormones and our gut and our physiology and our activity and our focus and our attention and all of those things are all happening simultaneously. We're going to try to lay down some pathways, use a little Pythagorean theorem there, and map out some cornerstones of where these words belong. You see, females, for the most part, are ahead of males in developing, no, not in developing, in acquiring and mastering emotional words. It's not always that way. Angelina came to the U.S. at 14, right when those social, emotional things are really being tested. She came speaking German, wearing a dirndl, and ended up in a private school. And yeah, that's a whole story to talk to her about. I grew up around sailor talk. My step-grandfather was a Marine drill instructor. My step-dad, who was an undercover narcotics agent, was a single child of that Marine drill instructor. We didn't exactly learn how to articulate what was going on emotionally. The philosophy was shoot first, and when the dust settles, figure out what the story was and who might have been guilty. That doesn't work very well in a marriage. Fortunately, my kids somehow survived being raised where they have mastered the world and done fabulous in life. I want you to think a little bit about where we're going. The picture I want to put in your head is the difference between that kid game called Chutes and Ladders and ridge running. Yeah. You know, trying to be a mountain goat across those stones, up and down the spine of a mountain. That's what I'm going to be introducing you to. It's an arduous journey of patience and precision and accuracy in the fog. Let me tell you, it's really tough. Especially when you decide to do things like... Last week I decided I would just cut an avocado, and I whacked right into my hand. I had to talk to my son, who's an EMT, about it. He goes, "Oh yeah, that happens frequently, Dad. Lots of people cut themselves with avocados." Oh, I'm just going to make breakfast this morning, cut some grapefruit, and... Learning to choose both accurate and precise emotional words is similar to segmenting a grapefruit. Your finger's there, so you don't want to slice into that. Oh my gosh, and you don't want stuff like that happening unexpectedly. What the? You get triggered. Right? I didn't see that coming. The picture I have in my head is don't cut yourself. And then boom. The camera mount just fell off of the... Yeah, you saw that. And what happens is the alarm triggers adrenaline, which makes things go into hyperdrive, and you cannot precisely pick your vocabulary when you've got to run for your life. This is the way your stupid amygdala makes it. So you end up becoming a sailor again. What the F? Piece of S? But. It's not a vocabulary sommelier, right? It's not choosing your words for the experience of others around you. It's just right? And that can become better, but it almost never goes away because the alarm can happen at any time. Cameras can just fall off right into your hands while you're cutting. Talking about not cut yourself. Another aspect of this gaining the vocabulary is when to use it. You can't use it like a club. You can't beat other people up with it. And others have to be patient with you. Very patient. You have to be patient with yourself. Remember the tool I gave you about self-talk, about affirmations? Add these words in that list. Practice them. Because when you need to recall them is exactly when everything in your fight or flight, in your anxiety, in your stress, in your rage, in your all of that, time out. Okay, that's why going to the dumpster is so important.
Dump the trash without ever touching anything.
Finding the proper word to articulate what's going on in the moment is incredibly tough when you're triggered. So we've got to practice an emotional vocabulary in order to recall when we're triggered, when the adrenaline's rushing. Download this list, put it in your devices, post it on your appliances, put it into your daily calendar, put it on your affirmations. Work on this list little by little. Refine your experience of the world. Develop the vocabulary that helps you express, not in sailor talk, but in distinct, accurate, precise, highly emotional words to build a bridge to those that are the most important around you. And I think you can do it and be fabulous, because I've done it, and I'm a highly functional Asperger, so let me tell you, I didn't even come with the equipment, okay? Being able to be sensitive, to be patient, to be kind, to allow the time for those words to emerge, for them to be translated from those complex patterns we've laid down, those defense mechanisms that we've developed into our strengths, whether it's humor or whether it's intense debate or isolation, or whatever the coping mechanism is. You're going to learn to start substituting some of this vocabulary when you most need it to those you most care for. And that's leaving SCOTOMAVILLE. All right, see you next episode. Put it to work. What I was saying to them was that this development of an emotional vocabulary is a brutal experience. I think I used the word of an arduous journey, right? This personal awareness summit of a vocabulary of what's deeply held, emotional words.
Mm-hmm.
That still is tough. It's still hard. They're not right on the surface yet. I have to really dig for them. I had to put it on the refrigerator for at least
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. We had the word list on the refrigerator, which was good because then we would discipline ourselves in the middle of a conversation, discussion, heated, to go to the refrigerator and pick a word and say,
I'd be like,
I'm feeling like
constipated, emotional
this.
word, and I'd be like, go to the refrigerator and what, wouldn't I? And I'd
Yeah.
go, is it this one or that one? Oh, that feels better. It's that one.
So you would go to the refrigerator to pick a word.
Yeah, I would go to the list and go, which one is it? Which one is it? Which one? It's that one. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pressured, under tension, and compelled. I don't feel liberty to discuss it. I feel, anyway, yeah.
Which was really good for me. One of the challenges in our relationship was Daniel pulling from his childhood, having to have the pressure to have an answer to something in an amount of time that is unrealistic. And he would put that pressure on himself. And I could never understand that because I didn't put that pressure on
You
him.
remember I shared about my stepfather being an undercover narcotics agent. Kick the door down, shoot. Okay, now who was responsible for this mess? Right? you got consequences before you were even had a trial. So that carried forward would be stress to try to find a precise. Can you even hear me anymore? That's a nice breeze off the lake, but it just came out of nowhere. Now we can talk again.
I think most relationships, from intimate to parental to even vocational relationships, if people had the understanding that the distinction in the words that they use had that much power, it would be a different outcome at times. And then feeling safe that you can articulate one of those words is also really, really important. So that's why Daniel in a previous video was talking about he does more words than I do. And over time, I've been able to share more words because his responses are healthier. And so we become healthy in the process with that understanding.
So, is it your recommendation that there is value beyond the labor and the effort and the confusion and the conflicts that come up by using more emotionally rich words?
It's a great tool because, one, we're different ages. We're 10 years apart. We have different cultures. I was born and raised in Germany. English is my second language. The meaning,
She's sexier than I am.
the meaning behind words can be very different, and you have to slow down.
And the order of the words
That too.
are often flipped around.
Yeah, I go between my traumatic brain injury and English is my second language. Yeah, it's flipped around. I come with disclaimers, and so taking the time.
And I have frickin' labels.
Taking the time when someone goes, ouch, in whatever manifestation that ouch is, it stings. It helps to slow down and to find out, why does that certain word mean that to them? One word that used to bug the doodah out of Daniel was the word fine.
It's not an emotional word, but you would just say
the word fine.
You'd even often say, it's okay. I'd be like, okay.
Or I go, that's fine, that's good. That's all right. Okay, moving on.
I'd
that's
be like,
fine.
There's coarse, there's medium, and there's fine. Huh? What do you mean it's fine? Is it acceptable? Do you find it pleasurable?
It's fine. You can only
Okay, so I'm going to recommend this. Can I get an amen that an emotionally rich vocabulary is a benefit? It's an asset in a relationship.
It is.
Can we up the volume on that?
Amen.
It is. All right.
It is.
Post it on your refrigerator. Pick those words when you're getting a glass of wine for the wife.
Put the word on the glass of wine.
Anyway, have fun with it. It's a good tool.